battle over equal pay. A new twist this morning from the First Lady on House of Cards. Robin Wright arguing she should be paid the same as co-star Kevin Spacey. 2020 anchor Elizabeth Vargas is here with much more on all this. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning, Robin. Robin Wright is not just arguing she should be paid as much as her male co-star. She threatened to go public if she wasn't. And she's just the latest highly paid, high-profile actress calling attention to an issue plaguing many working women in this country: the failure to earn equal pay for equal work.
Beneath Claire Underwood's icy stare and perfectly polished exterior on House of Cards,
I'm done trying to win over people's hearts,
is a ruthless politician who will stop at nothing to get what she wants.
I am looking out for myself, just like you are.
Now off-screen, Robin Wright is doing just that, putting on her best poker face during contract negotiations with Netflix, demanding to be paid the same as her co-star, Kevin Spacey.
I was like, I want to be paid the same as Kevin.
Wright speaking out at a Rockefeller Foundation and the Huffington Post event Tuesday night, describing her shrewd negotiating tactic with the show's producers.
I was looking at statistics, and Claire Underwood's character was more popular than his, and I was like, you better pay me or I'm going to go public. And they did.
Despite her reported $5.5 million salary, Wright is now adding to the ongoing conversation, both in and out of Hollywood, about gender pay gaps.
It's a male-dominant workplace society. It always has been.
This really started about a year and a half ago at the Oscars when Patricia Arquette stood up and demanded equal pay for equal work. Women are asking to make more money and talking about their salaries with each other.
I'll do whatever it takes, too, but I will not let this go.
Netflix declined to comment on the matter, but Wright says it is a pandemic that needs to be changed.
It's the push. It's how gentle and how forceful is that push, but it has to be unacceptable at this stage.
And with Elizabeth, Tori Johnson is our workplace contributor. Going to have more of this discussion. I know you've done a lot of this on 2020,
right,
Elizabeth. You know, from the outside, people would say, okay, she's well compensated. She's a Hollywood actor. Who cares?
Exactly.
Right is right.
Well, you know, on its face, we shouldn't care what richly paid Hollywood actresses are earning. However, these women are very famous. They're honored at being at the top of their field. And if they aren't getting paid equally to their co-stars, it says something about the value of a woman's work. And in this country right now, 40% of American families have a woman as the primary or sole breadwinner. This is a huge issue for all working women, not just the rich actresses.
And it's wonderful that they know they have a platform, and so they can speak for others. So, Tori, what did Robin Wright do here that we should follow and could possibly use?
So I think there are three very specific, we're calling them Wright rules. The first is she did her research. So she discovered that and knew, quite frankly, that her female role was equivalent to the male counterpart in terms of the importance to the storyline. She knew often at times that her character's popularity eclipsed that of her male counterpart. So when you are armed with those kind of facts, that goes way beyond like, I am woman, pay me more. That just doesn't work. We have to understand, why should we be paid more? What is it about our position and the value we bring to it? So you do your research. The next that she did right is she used her voice. And so often this is the hardest thing to do because we don't all have the confidence of a Claire Underwood. And so very often we hope, we pray that somebody's going to notice, but hope is not a strategy when it comes to salary negotiation. We have to be willing to speak up. And so if you are willing to speak up and ask for what you are worth, there's a greater chance in getting it, because we can't leave it up to employers to sort of correct pay disparities on their own. It often doesn't happen, especially with smaller companies. We have to speak up. And then the third thing that she did, where this is not necessarily a right rule, but it's what she did, which was to make a threat. And for most of us, the threat of going public would fall on deaf ears. That wouldn't work. So sometimes people say, you know, I'm going to leave if I don't get this raise. You have to be willing to carry that out. But if you speak up and the answer is no, is it no, not ever? Should I recognize that this company will never pay me more? Or is it no, not now? And can I establish with my employer under what conditions would it take to make more money?
And there's different times that you speak up, but especially when you enter the workforce, because if you start at a lower pay scale than your male counterpart, over your career, you're going to be so much more behind.
And that gets to a little bit of what Tori was saying about doing your homework. I did a profile on Lilly Ledbetter before President Obama named the Equal Pay Act after her. Part of the issue in her very long career in this position, where she was chronically underpaid, was she didn't know. She was afraid to ask. And that's a problem right now, because we consider it vulgar or in bad taste right now to talk about salaries, unless you're Donald Trump boasting about what you're worth. For the most part, people don't talk about it. So many women are too embarrassed to ask their male colleagues, what are you earning? It's considered in poor taste. Somehow we have to get around that, because unfortunately, we've seen through the history that companies and male colleagues are using that ignorance of the salary wages around you to our disadvantage.
And we got to get past this, Tori.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
This is
we think like nice girls don't talk about money.
Right.
Smart girls do. And we have far too many bills and responsibilities and our own self-value and worth to not speak up.
By the way, the wage gap, women lose on average in this country $500 billion a year because they're underpaid.
And as you said, many of them are the main breadwinners for their families, 40%. Okay, great discussion.